afternoon, folks. Dan Dix here from Press for Truth. Today is Tuesday, May the 7th, 2013. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the initiative that was recently launched by Adam Kokesh for an armed march into Washington, D.C. Now, if by chance you have not yet heard of this, Libertarian radio talk show host Adam Kokesh is organizing a protest in which the aim of this protest is to lead a group of protesters through a march into the District of Columbia with their weapons armed, locked and loaded, and rifles strung across their backs as they, in the words of Adam Kokesh, are attempting to put the government on notice, to have an armed revolt in order to overthrow the government. Now, the important point to note about this protest is the fact that open carry is illegal in Washington, D.C. So this is a calculated move, an act of civil disobedience to intentionally break the law in order to make a point. And it is a very important point to make, and that point being that the American people feel very strongly in their Second Amendment, and they want to put the government on notice that there's no way that they will be giving up their guns if it comes down to that. So again, when they march into Washington, D.C., there is going to be a line that is going to be crossed at a point where it becomes illegal to do so. And so one of the things that somewhat concerns me a little bit about this is just the fact that, well, there is an agenda for a global government. There is an agenda by the global elite to form a one world government. And the fact of the matter is that the United States Constitution, which is quite possibly one of the best documents ever written, along with the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is a major stumbling block to the agendas of forming a one-world government. So the Constitution must be destroyed. The Second Amendment must be destroyed. We have to remember the whole purpose of the Second Amendment in the first place. And that was, you know, even the Founding Fathers could see the potential dangers of government. It wasn't to protect you against home invasions or intruders or robberies or anything like that. It was specifically to protect you against tyrannical governments imposing their will on the people. The military coming and knocking on your door and the government forcing its will upon you. That is why the Second Amendment was placed into the Constitution. And I have to say I am in full support of the Second Amendment, and I like the fact that they are going to exercise this right and show the government that they're not going to be intimidated. However, in this age of agent provocateurs who infiltrate protests, go undercover, I mean, this is no longer any kind of a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's been well documented in some of my previous films. A lot of other people's work has pointed out the fact that governments often place their own agents into a protest in order to disrupt the entire protest. And the bottom line is, with this kind of a scenario, all it would really take is for one single shot to be fired, one single bullet to ring out from that protest, and you will have the opportunity for the media, the government, the entire establishment to completely demonize the Second Amendment and to begin that process of demolishing the Constitution of the United States. They will all be pinned as violent, crazy gun owners who can't be trusted, and therefore this could provide the opportunity for the global elite to really crack down on the Constitution, as has been the goal for quite some time. So we know that that's a possibility. So basically this is a risky move at this point. And we got to consider all the other factors going on. Like, there's just this things are brewing, folks. I don't know if you can feel it, but I certainly can. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Dr. Jim Garrow, who told me about some information that was revealed to him from a high intelligence military official who told him that the Obama administration is currently doing what this source calls a litmus test to high-ranking military officials, asking the question, will you take away the Americans' guns if you're ordered to do so? And the more important question is, the follow-up question to that is, if they are not willing to give up their guns, are you willing to fire upon the American citizens? And with the Department of Homeland Security purchasing, you know, billions of rounds of ammunition, and the Obama administration placing this litmus test to high-ranking military officials, it certainly feels like things are brewing. I'll put a link to that interview in the description if you want to check it out for yourself if you haven't seen it yet. But certainly it feels like things are brewing. So is this really the right time to push the envelope like this? It just feels risky to me. And again, I am in full support of exercising your Second Amendment rights. I think that Adam Kokesh believes he is doing the right thing. I think he's a decent guy. I met him when I interviewed him for my film The Turning Point back in Chantilly, Virginia, covering Bilderberg 2012. And I've been on his show a couple of times, and you know, he's a decent guy. I think he does mean well, but there's no doubt that this could be turned against the entire movement and used by the establishment to once again destroy the American Constitution and the Second Amendment, which is absolutely key to being able to formulate a one world government. So this protest is going to happen, so it is my hope that things go off smoothly. Adam is calling for this to be completely peaceful, and you know, hopefully just the authorities will guide the march. Let their protest happen. Let them march around DC, and kind of guide them through that. That's what should happen, and that would be a great thing to happen, so that the protest can show the American people are holding firm to their Second Amendment rights, and they're not going to be intimidated and bullied, and they can show that without any kind of violent activities going on. In a perfect ideal scenario, that is what would happen. You just look at the global marijuana march, for example, where, you know, smoking marijuana in the streets here in Toronto, for example, is illegal. But when 20,000 people show up at Queen's Park in an organized protest to start smoking weed, they're not going to clamp down and arrest everyone. In fact, these protests, they march all around Toronto, smoking marijuana, which is illegal. But the police escort the march, and they ensure that it gets done safely. Because people are just going to exercise their rights, and that's how it's going to be. So hopefully, again, you know, I hope and I pray that this will go off without a hitch, without any kind of provocateur incidents, and where they can march around DC and assert their strong, bold announcement that they're not going to be intimidated or not going to back down should the American government try to take away their Second Amendment. But once again, folks, we have to understand that there is an agenda for a one-world government, and the Constitution of the United States is a major stumbling block to being able to achieve that goal. So could this be the golden opportunity to kickstart this brewing civil war, to kickstart the destruction of the Constitution? I certainly hope not, folks. But again, it looks like this is going to go through, so, you know, at this point in time, I just hope and pray that it goes smoothly and safely. And for anybody who is planning on attending, I wish you all the best, and be sure to have your cameras armed with you. That is my weapon of choice. Here at Press for Truth, we shoot frames, not bullets. Anyways, folks, just wanted to give you my thoughts on some of this. Fully in support of Second Amendment. I like the acts of civil disobedience. I'm worried there could be some provocateur incidents going on, but there's no stopping it now, folks. So we're going to pay close attention, and that's all for today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in once again, and I'll see everyone right back here tomorrow at pressfortruth.tv.